primary ignition.
Welcome to Unlimited Power. My name is D-Rod, and here's my guide to building and playing a Luke Skywalker deck at your local pre-release or sealed event for Star Wars Unlimited the Trading Card Game's first set, Spark of Rebellion. Let's take a look at what Luke Skywalker does and how much he costs. So Luke's going to need 6 resources to be deployed into your ground arena. And once he's there, he can attack units for 4 and has a health of 7. And on attack, he can give a shield token to any unit in play except himself. I think this is a really neat ability, as you can just use it to keep other units alive, clearly. Now, Luke's putting shield on units means those units are going to stay alive a little bit longer than your opponent expected. Maybe 1 to 2 actions, or if you're lucky, a couple of extra turns. Now, Luke's a little bit different when he's not deployed. His ability has a couple of other parameters you have to follow. So as an action, you can exhaust Luke, pay 1 resource, and give a shield token to a white aspect hero unit you played this phase. So there's a little bit there, but again, you're playing more of a slow mid-range to late game deck. You're trying to have your unit stay in play, and your opponent has to deal with them. Let's take a look at some of the cards I recommend that kind of fit the leader's aspects already, blue and white. The first one's going to be the Force is with me. A great uncommon to play with someone like Luke or other Force users. Choose a friendly unit and give 2 experience tokens to it. If you control a Force unit, also give a shield token to the chosen unit. Then you may attack with the chosen unit. Imagine playing this on Luke Skywalker. He now becomes a 6/9. He has a shield on him. He can attack immediately. You're skipping a couple of actions. You're protecting the unit. You're making them stronger. And with Luke's on attack ability, you're giving a shield to someone else. I think this is a great uncommon to put in your deck. Next is Kanan Jarrus. Pretty much a great addition to any blue-white deck because Kanan has the ability of discarding cards from the top of your opponent's deck every time he attacks for every Spectre unit you play. Because Spectres is a great sub-theme within this set, I recommend putting a few in your deck. But Kanan already can be a threat because he's going to be milling cards from your opponent's deck. In a limited format, your opponent has 30 cards minimum, right? They draw 6. By the time you play Kanan, they've already drawn an additional 6, and now they're at 20 cards. You may be getting rid of cards from their deck that they were really counting on. If you play more Spectres, they may run out of cards before your game is already over, and they'll begin to take damage every time they need to draw. Kanan is a great card with great stats and a great resource cost, but he doesn't just stop there. For every card you discard, depending on the amount of aspects you find, you can heal your base. So that means Kanan's not only dealing 4 damage, he's removing a card from your opponent's deck, and he's healing up to 2 points of damage from just 1 card. Great addition. Lastly is the Restored ARC, a card you would rather play on your second turn than your first because of Luke Skywalker. It has the Restore ability, so it's going to continue to heal your base, and you can put a shield on it. A card like this really gets into the head of your opponent because they want to take care of these cards that are shielded and healing you. In the yellow aspect, I'm going to recommend Crafty Smuggler. No, it does not have that white aspect symbol, but it's a great card to play your first turn. It does what Luke is already doing. You're putting shields on units. You're giving your units more time to live, and you're forcing your opponent to deal with it. So I think it's a great one to play early on. Chewbacca is a good one you can play either when you have 5 resources or 6. Play it with 5 if you really need him. Play it on 6 if you can shield him. Because once Chewbacca's in play, that Sentinel ability is going to make him a big target. And luckily, every time he's attacked, he gets to ready immediately. And when he's ready, attack with him your next action. If you can keep him alive with a shield, go for it. But the ability to attack that turn is just going to be really beneficial, maximizing the amount of damage Chewbacca can do. Imagine him coming out. You get attacked. You attack back. You shield him. He gets attacked again. You attack the base. You can get 2 or 3 attacks his first turn in play. Lastly is Ezra Bridger. A great addition to this deck. If you can play blue, white, yellow, you're pretty solid. There's a reason why this is the starter deck colors. Ezra is a Force user and a Spectre user. You can shield him, and every time he completes an attack, meaning he survives the attack, You can look at the top card of your deck, play it if you have the resources, discard it, or leave it there. Ezra's going to give you a little bit more cards to play, and it's not a bad card to pair with Kanan. Next is our hero aspect cards, looking at something like Alliance X-Wing, Fleet Lieutenant, and Wing Leader. These low-cost cards are really great to put shields on. Fleet Lieutenant's going to make your rebel units like Luke, Kanan, Ezra, Chewbacca hit a bit harder with that ability. And lastly, the Wing Leader is only going to strengthen some of your units that have shields already. Shields, experience tokens, you're playing a really cool deck that just gets stronger and stronger, and your opponent has to decide where they want to point their efforts. Next is the aggression aspect. This allows you to gain access to 2 more Spectres. Because Kanan is uncommon and blue-white, you're probably going to be able to fit him in your deck easily. So playing some more Spectre units is going to benefit you with Kanan's ability. Playing cards like Sabine Wren, who can on attack deal damage to the base or defender, or Zeb Aurelios. Now imagine Zeb putting a shield on him the turn he comes out, using Luke's ability, and now he's a 5/5 with the shield. He needs to attack units. Better, he needs to defeat units to use the rest of his ability. If he can do that and not take any damage because of Luke Skywalker's shielding, that's pretty great. And lastly is Open Fire, one of my favorite red cards because it deals 4 damage to any unit in play, and that it can kill a couple of leaders at your local sealed event. In the Vigilance blue aspect, I'm going to recommend Devotion, one of my favorite cards. It's a great one to put on someone like Kanan Jarrus who you want to keep alive, Ezra Bridger, or Luke Skywalker themselves. Not only does it give you the Restore 2 ability, it strengthens their attack and their health by 1. Yoda is another great one because it has a Restore 2 ability. He doesn't hit very hard, but the moment he dies, you get to draw a card. It's a Force user, it's draw, and it's going to keep healing your base. Next is the Wilderness Fighter, similar to the Cartel Spacer. To the Cartel Spacer. This card comes into play with a shield. It's already bypassing what Luke does. No, he's not a rebel, he's not a Spectre, but he's a great turn 2 play that doesn't slow you down. And lastly is the command aspect. I'm going to recommend Strike True because it's nice to have ways of dealing direct damage to your opponent. Next, Echo Base Defender. That Sentinel ability is really great. Being able to shield a Sentinel unit, even better. It's going to make sure your unit stays alive and in play a little bit longer than your opponent expected, and protecting units like Luke Skywalker or Kanan. Lastly is Mon Mothma. With her ability of being able to search the top 5 cards for a rebel unit and add it to your hand, she's a great play early, mid, or late. Finding those rebel units like Kanan, Chewbacca, or restored ARCs is really what's going to set you apart from other players, because you're going to want to be keeping cards in your hand constantly, and this is going to help with that. So this is my recommendation for building a Luke deck at your local event. I hope you have fun. If you try any of these cards out, make sure you comment and let me know how it went. Have a great time, and may the Force be with you.